I wanted to quickly go over what my favorite picks are for guns that I believe are the most powerful from trader level 1 through 3. So for trader level 1, my favorite pick by far is the SKS. The SKS just gives you access to these 7.62 by 39 rounds right away, which just shred targets. I'll pull up the damage numbers on it. It does a ton of damage. It's 2-shotting to the chest on unarmored units. So as long as you can get used to firing this with its iron sights, this gun is mighty powerful and useful. Even for close range fights, I think it does really well if you can point fire it decently. Learn to line up those iron sights. So I'm aiming for that left dark spot out of the two. And that's really good. That's on target. So if you can aim that gun well, for trader level 1, the SKS is really hard to beat for handling all ranges. There are going to be some guns that do a little bit better close range, but regardless, thanks for the follow, it is excellent. I'm going to show you point firing super quick. So point firing is when you shoot from your shoulder and you're not aiming down sights, okay? That's what point firing is. Hip fire is technically down here. People confuse point fire with hip fire all the time. Notice the difference. So aiming down sights, point firing just from the shoulder. And point firing is what you're going to do when you're dealing with somebody really close range. Okay, let's say that garbage can is an enemy, right? And he pops out instantly. I could aim down sights and try and line up a shot and shoot, but aiming down sights takes time. And when an enemy is that close and you need to start getting bullets down range instantly because he's probably already aiming at you, you need to point fire, okay? And this is something you can practice, but we aim, we see, we point fire, right? We're not aiming down sights. Most of those except one bullet hit the target, and all you need with the SKS is 2 in the chest on an unarmored target, and they're going to die. 3 for lightly lightly armored targets, and then probably 4, maybe 5 for the best armor. I need to test those numbers out, but that's basically it. And you can practice point firing in the gun range by trying to shoot those targets without aiming down sight. And point firing is more of a muscle memory thing, so you'll just get better at it over time, and you'll be able to shoot targets that you want to. So point firing with the SKS makes it so deadly at closer range fights. It's just got such a quick time to kill if you can pull that trigger fast and land a few shots. Trader level 2 guns, best pick, in my opinion, by far, especially since I'm such a big fan of the 7.62 caliber, because it's just so much better at armor piercing and has a lot more damage overall to flesh in comparison to other rounds, is the AKM. The AKM basically gives you the same power as an SKS, except you get fully auto capabilities, and you get access to a dovetail attachment. And I'll show you what a dovetail is. So not only do we get to upgrade away from iron sights, which is a big deal for sight picture and landing shots, but we also get fully auto. They call it an AK side rail, but these are dovetail attachments, dovetail rails, and they clip on to the side of the AK. Right? You might look at this and go, oh, you know, there's no rails. Well, we can get a rail by putting this attachment on the side of it. Yo, thanks for the sub. Now that we have a rail on top, there, you get access to the Cobra sight. And now we have basically the SKS's power and a fully auto gun without having to use iron sights. So when you hit trader level 2, this is a huge upgrade. Does a lot of damage. A lot more sight picture. And I'm gonna shoot the right one. You can switch it to single auto for when you're taking those really long range fights, because you don't want it shooting twice, because the kick is pretty large on the AK. And then you can still have that benefit of point firing at close range. No aiming down sights, just a point fire. We hit all our shots on the garbage can at that close range. That will shred players if you can get that off quickly. All right, so Trader level 3. You've hit it. You got access to better guns. Well, let me show you something nasty. Now, this gun is really only my pick for medium to long range encounters. At close range encounters, it can still do decent at point firing, but it's just a bit of a longer gun, so it can be awkward for those really close quarter fights. And that gun is the G3A3. We're still shooting 7.62 caliber, but a larger size of it. It's 7.62 by 51, which means even more damage and armor penetration. For our sights, we do get access to the ACOG sight at Trader level 3, but I still much prefer having the Cobra, because I can still handle medium to long range encounters with it. And I would hate to be stuck with just an ACOG sight when I'm having to deal with a little bit closer fights. The ACOG is fairly nice, though. It's just a bit too much of a zoom for me. And also, at Trader level 3, you get access to the silencer. Now we're shooting silenced, which is an insane advantage. You can be popping shots from medium to long range, and they're not going to know where they're getting hit. Unless they see you directly or are smart and can figure out, you know, when you can and cannot shoot them, because they can narrow down angles. Basically, if I'm getting shot here, right, and I'm getting shot silenced, but then I move over here and I'm not getting shot anymore, I know that he's not back here somewhere, right? I know that he's narrowed down to in this area. So they have to do all this extra work to figure out where you are, rather than just hearing the gunshot and being like, oh, that shot was to my back left. So going silenced gives you such a massive advantage. You can get a lot more shots off before anybody knows where you're at, giving you lots of extra time to deal DPS and kill your targets before they even know you exist. Hexjack, thank you very much for the sub. So they have these 20-round mags. So yeah, you won't get access to those 30-round mags until later. So for now, you will have to deal with 20-round mags with this gun, but can't recommend it enough. I was using it a ton 2 days ago, and it was just deleting players. I recommend using it not on fully auto because it has a smaller mag, and you should just switch it to single fire, even for closer ranged fights. And this gun is very, very nasty. I just can't say enough good things about it. As soon as I got access to this, I was just shredding players even more. And you can still point fire this gun. You should get comfortable with point firing every single gun you're using, because there are going to be situations where I run into someone super close, and ADSing isn't going to be as quick. So we just, from the hip, I missed the first, or sorry, from point fire, I missed the first two shots, but same idea there. And this gun slaps. This is what I'm going to be using mainly. Curious News says, are you using a Gunstock or do you have recommendations? I do have recommendations. I use the Virtual Gunstock. I know you said that you found it janky. You just need to get used to it. It might feel like your right hand is a little off, but just know it's helping you lock your right arm a little bit more. So most of your aiming, you shouldn't be like, how do I explain this? You shouldn't be aiming your gun with this back end swiveling at all. Okay, so you see me doing this, you shouldn't be aiming your gun like that at all, using the back to swivel and change. And with the Virtual Gunstock on, it doesn't allow you to really do that. It locks it a lot more. So all your aiming, you kind of want to lock your right arm to your elbow your elbow to your the side of your body. Just kind of keep it kind of tight. Maybe not the elbow all the way in, but just like this upper arm, it should be kind of stabilized against your body. And then we're just using basically our front hand to adjust tiny angles, or using the entire body to move, right? Mainly I'm using my body to turn, and both my hands are just stiff, okay? The other thing is when you grab a gun, the farther you put your left hand out, so let's say I'm grabbing here, I actually usually push my arm out because it's easier to keep it stable. And it also means that even if I am shaking a little bit, those shakes get lessened. A shake at a closer angle here is going to have the gun shake a lot more. But if my hand's further out and I shake a little bit, it's not as much, if that makes sense. It's kind of math and angles there. Thank you all for watching. If you feel the video deserves it, give it a like, consider subscribing. It means a lot for my small channel. Also, I do a lot of live streaming on twitch.tv. The link will be in the description below. That's all for today. Expect more Ghosts of Tabor content. And until then, I'll see you in the field.